All right, that's it, and we should be live on Twitch. Hello,
Hey.
Welcome back to Call of Cthulhu: Shadows over Stillwater, our fun little Western campaign of Call of Cthulhu. Everything is fine. We didn't end last time with someone pointing a rifle at anybody. No, just maybe a horse. But we are back in our last session. The group here did come across the one Hank Hanratty, who they have been paid to seek out and bring to justice for some past crimes of his. And they talked Hank into coming down from the mine with his brother-in-law Luke, and were trying to convince him that he should come back to town. When they got back to the Probish home and found June and Mark Probish waiting, and little Mark seems a little upset that these strangers are coming to do something with his dear Uncle Hank. And when we ended, he had a rifle trained on Solomon's horse. And so we're going to say hi to everybody, and then we're going to find out what happens, if they can diffuse the situation, or if things are going to get a little more interesting. So we'll go around. And also, announcement, if you can see on our overlay, which I'm sure you can, we have character art.
Hey.
And our character art is drawn by our very own Callie, who plays our dear Olive, the newspaper reporter. So thank you, Callie, for our character art. Very appreciated. And with that, we're going to let Callie say hi first, because you are the character of the week with character art.
So do I introduce Olive again?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. I'm Callie. I play Olive. She's a journalist. She is terrified right now. And that's about it.
Outstanding. And how about Vex?
Well, I'm playing Kiyo. You can see what she looks like here now because of Callie's awesome art. She's just ready. She's just hoping she doesn't have to shoot a kid. That's the big one.
Oh, shooting a child. Yes, let's hope not. And Vivacia. Hello.
Hello, I'm Vivacia. I am playing Dr. Viola Markward, which you can also see giving Hank the stink eye. Is it Hank? No.
Duncan.
I swear, one of these days I'm going to get that right. Yeah, she's giving him very clearly this stink eye. And yeah, she is basically like... And that's where we faded to black last time.
And D-Sword.
Hi everybody, I am Derek Sword, DSword16 on Twitter and Discord. I am going to be playing, once again, Solomon, or Sol to his friend, Sol Henson. And he is a Civil War veteran who came to this part of the country just looking for work and to find a place for himself, and instead has found himself at the end of a barrel, being held by a child, pointing at his horse. Come on, Jeanette. All right, let's roll some dice. To say I'm excited is not the right word. Anxious.
We're excited.
Yes. Let's see where this goes. Yeehaw, everybody.
So yes, we fade back in as young Mark, who appears to be 13 or 14 years old, has leveled his .22 rifle at the horse that is currently carrying one Solomon, and he's staring at this group. Who, so Duncan and Solomon are kind of in the front with Dr. Viola and Kiyo and Olive sort of behind. I believe that at this point, who is Olive riding with? Because I know Olive was not riding on her own. I think it was...
I think the doctor.
Yes,
Doctor,
I believe.
because
Yeah,
Yes.
and Vex was leading us.
Yeah, Kiyo is taken over controlling their horses for them.
Exactly. We've had some riding incidents at this point. So Kiyo has the rope that is leading the horse that is carrying the doctor and Olive. And Hank and Luke were kind of coming up kind of alongside your horses at this point. And yeah, Mark is standing there. He's got this serious look on his young face, and he is pointing this rifle in your direction, Solomon. And he's just got his lower lip kind of set and is looking your way. His mother still has her shotgun, but it's pointed toward the ground. She's not currently pointing it at any of you. And you did see that Hank had a pistol, but he had taken it out, but he had reholstered it at one point, and he had not put his hand back to the pistol at this point. And you haven't seen Luke himself, whether or not he has any sort of firearm to this point. But Mark is just kind of staring you down, Solomon. And he says, what do you want with my uncle?
Damn it, boy, you're making a mistake right now. Point that gun away.
No, I'm gonna point it right in that direction, because I don't know who you are, mister. And my uncle, he's a good man.
Well, son, you're not making a good case for him right now.
Well,
You think good people just point guns at folk they don't know?
I see one of him, and my pa, he ain't armed at all. And so I think that there's just too many of y'all and not enough of us. And I think that Mama said that you were here for Uncle Hank, and I don't understand, because Uncle Hank, he's a good man, he's a hero. He's told me all his stories about being a hero. And Mama says that you're going to take him away, and he didn't do anything wrong, so you can't take Uncle Hank away.
Well, if he didn't do anything wrong, then he can come back. Son, you need to point that gun away right now.
Mark, she's gonna try and get it. Mark, sometimes heroes make mistakes too, and what makes you a hero is being brave and owning up to those mistakes and clearing it up. And that is what your uncle doing. He's being a hero. He's gonna come with us and clear this up, and then he's gonna come back.
Mama said if Uncle Hank goes with you, he ain't gonna be able to come back.
Well, that is not a given. That is not true. Your mama's mistaken there. There's still a chance that he's going to clear this up and he's going to come back. If he didn't do anything, then he's going to come right back. And your daddy's coming with us to make sure that we're doing this right.
Mama, they're going to take Daddy away too?
No, we're not taking Daddy away. We are not, baby. We are not. Daddy is going to come and keep us on track. We don't want to get in trouble with your daddy.
Kind of looks between the two of you. Why don't the two of you either roll, if you're trying to be persuasive, you can roll charm or fast talk, or if you're trying to intimidate the young boy, you can try to roll intimidate.
Can I roll persuade?
Oh yeah, persuade. I forgot that's on there. You can also roll persuade.
What was it? The purple one, right?
Either one will work. All right. Oof. All right. So Mark does not lower his rifle as he keeps it pointed at the horse, and his little lip kind of sticks out a little bit further. And he says, "I think that you should just let Uncle Hank go on his way, and you all should go on your own way." Duncan's kind of sitting on his horse behind Sol. Like, you see Duncan kind of back his horse up like 3 or 4 steps so he's not like near Sol's horse.
So how sneakily can Kiyo unholster her shotgun?
Sleight of hand? I would say sleight of hand, but I'm gonna say roll it with 1 penalty die, because you do have Luke and Hank right there.
Yeah, while he's doing that rolling thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around to his father and say, "Well, maybe your son would listen to you, sir."
Jeanette, what's the penalty die, just for confirmation?
All right, so penalty die. So you roll an extra percentage die, the one with the double digits.
Yep.
And you take the higher of the 2 that you roll.
So
So
it's a
we're gonna
one.
get shot.
I rolled the lowest possible. I rolled 2 double zeros. One sec. I'm just gonna, where is it? There it is.
All right, so you got a 1%, and is the other a double zero as well?
It's both double zeros.
Oh, well, that's a 1%. So that means you definitely can unholster your shotgun very, very quietly and casually.
Just casually, one hand, just reach over, and she's gonna point it not at the kid, but at the uncle. And look at the kid. You don't want to start this trouble, kid. Put the gun down now. And this is an intimidate.
All right.
You won't listen to reason? Time to make them listen to by force.
Let's see.
And that'll be 13 for my intimidate.
And what is your intimidate score?
My intimidate score is 15, I think.
All right.
Yeah, 15, so I did pass.
All right, let's see.
I probably could have used charm and it would have been a lot more effective, but...
All right, so you see the kid, you see Mark as he sees Kiyo draw down, and Luke had moved forward a little bit, like he kind of moved his horse a little forward, so he's kind of coming up alongside Solomon, and he's like about to say something to Mark, and then Kiyo talks, and he kind of turns in his saddle, and you see Mark, like, the gun goes from pointing at Solomon's horse to pointing up in the direction of Kiyo. It's like, you don't draw on my uncle like that.
Gun down now, or your uncle gets shot. This gun's loaded. This is not the first person. Put it down.
And Mark starts to lower his gun, and Luke is like, Mark, step back. Mark, don't do anything dumb. And Hank just is kind of looking at this. His hand is still like, one hand was on the reins, the other hand was on his like hip, near his holster, but he had reholstered the pistol. And he sort of like looks at you with the gun pointed on him, and he's like, "It's all right, Mark. It's all right. Just you don't have to shoot this woman. Just put the gun. Just point the gun at the ground, son. Point the gun at the ground." And Mark kind of lowers his gun. He still, like, kind of has it where he could pick it back up, but he's got it down, pointing at the ground. And Hank's, like, looking at Kiyo sideways. Just shakes his head. He's like, "You really gonna shoot me with that thing right in front of my sister and my nephew? Like,
she just looks
a boy."
She looks and says, "I don't appreciate guns being pointed at me. I'm sure you can understand that right now."
It wasn't pointed at you until you pointed a gun at me.
I don't like guns being pointed in my general direction or my friends. I'm sure you can understand that right now. As she lowers her gun as well. It's still in her hand, but she's lowering it from him.
I can understand. He said, looks at June. He says, "June, it'll be fine. I guess I'm gonna have to have a conversation with these folks and see what's going on. Luke's gonna accompany me to town. We're just gonna see what's what and what they have to say. Mark, you don't have to worry." Mark's like, "I want to come with you." And he's like, "Well, son, I don't know. I think you should stay here with your ma. And if we're not back tomorrow, June, you can bring him on into town and see what's going on." And June just kind of nods at him. And Hank looks around at you and he says, "All right, well, now that we've diffused the situation and nobody got shot, we're losing my brother-in-law money every second that we waste with this situation. So I guess we have to go back to town."
That is the plan. Miss June, do you mind disarming your son? I have a fear of being shot in the back.
Mark looks up at his mother. She looks down at Mark. And she's like, just give me your rifle. He's like, Mama, no. Mama, I'm not gonna shoot him in the back. If I shoot him, I'll shoot him right between the eyes, like Uncle Hank taught me. And she's like, just give me the gun, and don't worry, you can have it back once they're gone. And she's like, Mark, hand over the gun. And he is like, Mama, fine. And he hands her his rifle. So she now has her shotgun in one hand and his rifle in the other hand.
Thank you kindly, ma'am. We'll have your husband and your brother back as soon as humanly possible.
She walks over to Luke's horse, and she hands him both guns for the second, and then she walks over to where Hank is, and she's like, brother, come here. And he looks at you all, and he goes to dismount the horse if nobody tells him not to.
No.
So he climbs down from the horse. He gives her a hug, and he says, don't worry, sister. I've dealt with stupidity like this before, and I'm innocent, so this should be fine. I should be back in no time. I'll have to have a word with the marshal, and it's obviously a case of mistaken identity. And as he says it and he's hugging her, he's sort of looking back over you all, and his eyes kind of like pass over Solomon, kind of rest there for a second, and then do the same to Kiyo, and then just a passing glance at the rest of you. Duncan's sitting on his horse. He's got his hat off. He scratches his head, and he's like, well, I really thought that someone was going to get shot. Whew. Man.
The hug between June and Hank is it's just a normal hug. It's not like she's slipping something into his pocket, or it's not like he's, reaching for a gun or anything while he's doing it, right?
It looks like it's just a regular hug. He's got his gun already, as you haven't disarmed him yet, so it doesn't seem like she's concerned about giving him anything. So
Okay.
She's just giving him a hug.
Okay.
And then she steps away. She kind of looks back at your group, gives y'all a hard stare, and she's like, shakes her head. It's not even like a man can't even do his best to clean up his act, and he gets harassed while he's just doing the Lord's work and working hard and helping provide for his family.
We're just doing our job.
Just getting paid. You don't even know if you're looking for the right person. And she'll walk back toward the front door. She takes back...
I'm going to point that it's really ironic that she's like, how dare you interrupt this person's work? We're working. How dare you get paid?
As she walks back, she takes back the guns from Luke. And then she looks back at Mark and she says, go get Daddy's gun belt and bring it back and leave it in the belt. Don't shoot nobody when you come back with that, Mark. And he's like, all right, Mama. So he runs back inside, and he comes back out, and he's got just a gun belt. It's got a small 36 Colt, like, kind of tucked in there, and some bullets around, and he walks it back and hands it up to his father. Luke looks at you all, and he's like, just in case anything dangerous is on the road. I don't bear anybody here ill will.
I don't want to hinder you and your right to bear arms, sir. It's untamed country out here. Man has a right to a gun. Haven't taken one from Hank. Certainly not going to deny you one.
All right then. Well, I guess we better head back then if that's what's going to happen.
I think that's what has to. A healthy respect for the law is, I think, something that's needed here, and the sooner we get back on the road, the sooner we can do that.
You hear as Hank is climbing back into the saddle, and you say that, you hear Hank kind of, healthy respect for the law. Settles himself in the saddle. Well, we're going to get the show on the road. My brother-in-law is losing money while we sit here in our asses.
By all means, lead the way.
Yep.
Oh, well, all right then. It's this way. We're going to Stillwater, right?
That is
Like, we're
correct.
not, all right, not going to the big city. That would take a while. I'd say we have to get some rations if that were the case.
Oh, Stillwater's destination. Shouldn't be too long of a ride.
And he'll kind of give his horse a little nudge, start it going forward, and Mark kind of runs after him as he's going. He's like, Uncle Hank. He's like, are you gonna be all right? And he's like, oh, Mark, don't you worry, I'm gonna be just fine. You look after your ma while I'm gone. I'll be back day, maybe 2 tops. All right, you be all right. He's like, all right, Uncle Hank, bye. And he's kind of running after him as you guys kind of follow suit.
Hey guys, I settled the problem. Don't worry. Kiyo look to Viola, right? I can never. It's both V names, and then my brain immediately gets them mixed up.
I know.
She'll say, "You can handle the horse, or do you want me to continue?"
Well, let's be honest. If we have another shake, I would appreciate if you continue handling that horse for today. I've fallen enough.
Oh. Would you like me to have Olive on the back here, so you don't have to worry about that?
Why not? Why not?
Right.
Let's be safe here. Olive,
Yeah.
how are you feeling? How is your head?
It's okay. I'm more concerned about what just happened, and
We didn't get shot. That's what matters. And she'll offer Olive a hand onto her horse.
Been grazed by a bullet before. I don't really want that to happen again.
Well,
Couldn't
we've
agree
kept
more.
things relatively bloodless so far, aside from that nasty punch that Duncan got. But besides that, I think that we might be able to resolve this without too
Wait.
much more blood.
What nasty punch you talking about?
Kiyo just gives him a look.
He goes, he's riding, he kind of eases over and rides on the other side of Solomon, so Solomon's between Kiyo and him.
Yes. Kiyo is very proud of this.
So,
And yeah.
Y'all came down here to arrest Hank then. Hank's like, what do you do?
Well, that we're not exactly sure about, and I do apologize for the deception. But we do appreciate your help throughout this entire thing. We just know that we were deputized to bring him in for questioning, alongside with potentially some questions about murder. We don't know if he committed them or if he was a witness or what, but he is a wanted man, and so hopefully, I dearly do hope that this can all just be resolved by a few honest answers to some somewhat unpleasant questions.
Hank, y'all murdered someone? Hank
Yes, that's
looks over
incredibly
his
helpful. Thank you.
Hank looks over his shoulder. I don't know what they're talking about, Duncan. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've gotten in my fair share of scrapes, but murder? I'm not the killing folks type.
I honestly want to believe that.
I'm sure that you do. How much you getting paid to bring me in, seeing as this is a paid gig?
Oh gosh, I can't remember what we're getting paid.
$600 was the purse.
Wasn't okay.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty decent sum of money.
Pretty good money, yeah.
Yeah.
Duncan's like, wait, y'all getting paid? Am I getting paid?
Of course.
Yes, I'm getting paid. Yes. Whew. It's been a slow couple weeks. This will be great. I can afford some time in the saloon again. Yeah. But Mr. Solomon, you're still paying for my room for another night, right?
Of course, Duncan. As long as you're helping us, it's literally the least I can do.
All right. Well, we should get back to town and clear this whole thing up. And town's that way. And Luke is riding along kind of quiet. He's kind of a little bit behind Hank, and he looks back. He looks at everybody and he says, "So, She mentioned something about being careful in case of what's happened with something about falling off the horses.
Have you noticed, and I want to, like, I guess through most of this right alongside Luke, at least behind Hank. Luke, have you noticed with your prospect, and you have mines on your property, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
People in town have been mentioning that there's been some strange seismic activity, that there's been quakes coming through here. Have you noticed any of that? I imagine with mining that could be somewhat treacherous with tunnels closing and whatnot. Has that been an issue for you?
Yeah, I haven't noticed anything of the sort. I mean, we're usually in the mine pretty much every day but Sunday, and nothing like that as far as goes down by my property. Like, how recent are we talking?
We're talking on our way to your property. We experienced some of the ground shaking, and our horses were pretty upset by that. Caused a couple of us to lose our seats.
Huh. Yeah, no, I can't say that I noticed anything up at the mine today either. Hank and I were up there since this morning, and everything seemed fine. We haven't had any issues as far as that, because, I mean, cave-ins would definitely be dangerous if there were earthquakes. I wouldn't want to be inside a mine if that kind of thing's going on, personally.
Well, and you make it to town somewhat infrequently, but has that ever been something you've noticed, or has anybody mentioned it while you've been in town?
Now that you mention it, when we were in town about 2 weeks ago, somebody was talking about some earth tremor and type stuff, but Hank and I had a few at that point, and I wasn't really paying attention. I was trying to concentrate on a hand of cards I was playing at the time.
Well, at least for our ride back into town, if that happens again, just keep a tight grip on your saddle and try not to fall off.
I'll do that, and hopefully we don't have that problem. That seems maybe we've seen the last of it. Hope so. So you all ride, and you retrace your path that you took from Stillwater down here to Luke's property south of the town. And things are pretty quiet. You don't notice any signs of any more quakes or anything like that as you're riding. Let's see. Why don't you all roll me spot hidden checks?
Ooh, sweet.
I passed.
I passed.
Okay. All right. So, as you are riding along, Kiyo and Olive, you're on the same horse. You're, kind of, what would you say, like kind of toward the back rear of the group?
Oh yeah, Kiyo would probably be nearer to the back rear, just because wants to get the drop in case they try to drop on them.
So you both notice, it looks like there is someone maybe shadowing your group, not on the road behind you, but kind of, it looks like in the rolling hills alongside the road. It looks like someone's trying to, your best guess would be, keep you in sight without being seen. You can't really make out who, but you can see, like, you definitely see, like, them moving along and, like, in shadow, silhouetted, like, on the hill, and then gone again quickly. Definitely on horseback.
Yeah. Guess Kiyo will kind of lean to Olive and say, "Do you see that?"
I was about to ask you the same thing.
All right. Then she'll kind of lean back and kind of slow down a little enough just so that she can get close to Viola. To give kind of like, we're being, I think someone's following. We think someone's following us just over. And she won't point, but she'll kind of just nudge her head in the direction. Say, I don't know who, can't tell, but might be something. And then she'll move herself up to Sol to do the same.
So, and when Kiyo does this, both of you, now you do kind of pick up on the movement at a distance, and you see like the shadowed figure kind of darting in and out of sight, trying to kind of keep their distance, but not lose sight of where you all are on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Sol has drawn his weapon yet, so I think he will pull out his Winchester and just kind of lay it across his lap so that he can still hold the reins, but at least has it present.
Yeah, Viola will do the same, especially since she doesn't have to worry about leading the horse.
Yeah, Kiyo will kind of lean to Olive and say, switch the cartridges in my shotgun to the ones in the other pocket. More or less getting her to switch from buckshot to slugs.
We'll change
Also,
it.
I realized like how intimidating it must have been to have a 10 gauge shotgun pointed at you that close.
It's not a good feeling.
No, like the 10 gauge shotguns are big too.
Mm-hmm. As you all are doing this and kind of like noticing this figure and preparing, Duncan has ridden up so that he's kind of between Hank and Luke, and he's just talking to them as Duncan does, and he's just, yeah, so you know how I met these people, they seem real nice. I mean, I know that y'all having kind of a situation with them right now, but so I was getting myself a drink and just, I spent the last little bit of money that I had. I only had less than $1 left, and then got in a bit of fisticuffs, and we were pretty evenly matched from the get-go, but in the end I probably had a little too much to drink, and so I kind of took a good clock to the face, and it put me down for a little bit, but they paid for my meal and they put me up in a room, so I mean it was a punch well worth it, let me tell you. And he's going on and on and on and just talking very loudly, his voice kind of echoing, and Hank is just kind of quietly riding along. You notice he's constantly like checking behind him to see where all of you are. He's sort of looking to see where Luke and Duncan are. So he's definitely like tense about this. Like he's definitely aware. Luke is more you can tell that he's aware that Hank's kind of spun up, but Luke is much more relaxed. Like he doesn't seem as concerned with the situation that's currently going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what are y'all doing as you are riding along? You've spotted this figure at a distance. I would say that where you're riding on the road, it's kind of shadowing you kind of off to the left, a little ways back from where you are. And you're probably at this point, your best guess would be maybe about halfway back to Stillwater. You're a little bit kind of in the area where the earthquake hit when you were on your way before.
Yeah, I'll ride up next to Luke again, start up a chat with him. So, Luke, what is it that you particularly mine for on your property? Is it gold? Is it silver?
Well,
You looking for gems?
mostly, we got ourselves a good silver vein going down in there. I mean, we've not so much on the gold. I mean, we've had a little luck panning in the stream on my property, getting some gold collecting that way, but mostly, yeah, we've been pretty lucky with the silver mining these last couple years. Made an alright profit. Having an extra set of hands with Hank having come in has helped quite a bit.
Certainly. Do you have anybody else that happens to mine in this area? Any neighbors or anybody else who might be out this way?
Well, I mean, not really out this way. I mean, like Duncan and some of the others have claims and things like that, sort of north of town. Out this way, we're kind of I mean, there's a couple of little homesteads, little farm properties here and there. The Wilsons are a few miles to the east over that way, and he points kind of to the right. McMillan's, they got a place a little further south of mine, but yeah, otherwise kind of more spread out. My place is kind of the most of the McMillan's are furthest out, I'd say, and then my place is like second.
All right. Well, Luke, I do want to be upfront with you. I don't want deception to be a foundation of this relationship, and I do honestly want what's best for you and your family. So I'm just going to straight out ask you: do you have anybody that might be following us?
Well, on my property, there's June and Mark and myself and Hank. So, I mean, nobody was out today aside from y'all, as far as I know. Unless June had any visitors and she didn't get a chance to mention it.
Well, I'll make you aware that my companions have notified me that there is, in fact, somebody who is following our group now. And if they have poor intentions towards myself or my friends, I can guarantee that they will likely have poor intentions towards you as well. So do be prepared for that. And if you are at all involved in some kind of ambush, I can promise you that that won't be too good for you or your family.
He kind of spits, looks back. Well, I got a thought. Humor me for a second. And he kind of takes the reins and kind of turns his horse out from the group and kind of points it back in the direction y'all have come from. And he's kind of giving a look. Mark, son, if that's you out there, you slip away from your ma again, son? You gonna do something stupid, boy? Mark, I'm gonna give you the count of 3 if that's you back there, if you don't ride up quick. These folks here, they're well armed, and I don't want to see you get hurt. And if you're not Mark, well, I think you've made a mistake. And he's gonna try and make a roll. Do. I guess it'd be this one. And he doesn't get a response. He kind of looks back over his shoulder. He's like, if I had to bet, I bet it's my boy. He's got a bit of a temper on him. He's definitely not too thrilled with this how things turned out today so far. So I'd much appreciate it if you'd be a little careful, knowing he's just a 14-year-old with fortunately he's got he does think his uncle here is, pretty much walks on water, if you know what I mean. If I'll just ride on this side and kind of keep an eye out if you see him again. But I mean, I think it's got to be him. If not, I'm not sure, but he gives his mom the slip,
Well, if it is him and you do see him, please do notify us, because we are no short of jumpy at this point, and I certainly don't want your boy to get shot by accident, or for any of us to get shot by accident.
Or on purpose, Kiyo will add in.
Or on purpose.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, and he's kind of giving a look, like he's trying, you can see he's squinting into the distance, trying to see if he can like make him out or anything like that, and pick him out from the distance. And he's like, "Oh, I see what you mean. I see back there. Looks like he stopped back there on the just beyond that ridge. You see him? I think that's kind of small of stature."
Can I pull out my binoculars and see if I can actually... Is it just a shadow or... Okay.
Go ahead, because your binoculars would, you can get a bonus dice on your, spot hidden, and, if you get a hard success, then you, will probably be able to make out this person.
Okay.
So, boom. You just make out the shadow, like it, as you're both looking in that direction, whoever it is just sort of corrects, but you can see it's, definitely smaller frame. And having seen Mark, you'd guess it's probably him.
All right. And I'll relay that information to Kiyo, Viola, and Olive. It's probably the boys. Probably grabbed a horse and followed us. Just if you happen to see him, try not to shoot him, and try not to get shot by him.
All right.
Yeah. He's a pretty good shot with that little rifle he's got. I mean, I've been teaching him. Hank's been teaching him. So, but it doesn't have as good a range on it as some other. It's kind of a smaller rifle. So he'd have to get up pretty close to get a good shot off. I think he's just he makes poor decisions sometimes. As boys his age will do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
I would like to just call out to Hank and see, Hank, would you mind calling out to Mark and see if you can get him to come out? I mean, he really looks up to you, and I really would hate for him to get hurt by accident.
I mean, why don't I ride over and get the boy?
I would appreciate if you do not leave us.
he actually smiles at that.
I would appreciate it.
And Kiyo just gives a laugh. Like, I appreciate the attempt there.
So, and I know you got the voice. If you could persuade the boy to come over here so nobody gets hurt, that would be really appreciated.
Make a persuade roll. He's seems like he's somewhat inclined not to be helpful. Or, I mean, persuade, charm, whichever you feel is good for the good doctor.
Oof.
Yeah, he does not like me at all.
Yeah, he kind of just gives you a side glance. And, Luke kind of rides over and says, Hank, I know, I can see it, you're fuming underneath the surface, but, if it's Mark, we don't want him to do something stupid. To which Hank kind of side-eyes Luke, like maybe he's not in agreement with that entirely, but he kind of gives, Luke a nod, and he's like, fine. Mark boy, if that's you, get your honey over here right now! Come out so we can see you! Damn.
You are not having luck today.
No, we are not. So, the figure sort of, like, disappears from sight on the other side, and Hank looks around and he's like, I mean, he don't want to come out if it's him. I can't blame him.
Alright, well, maybe we should just pick up the pace then and see if maybe we can just leave him some dust.
I mean, Hank looks at you. I could just go get him and bring him over here.
Or Luke could go get him and bring him over here.
Yeah, or Luke could go get him and bring him up. Damn it. Yeah, Luke, why don't you go collect your boy? And Luke's like, alright, he looks around.
And Kiyo will look to Solomon. You want to follow just to, if it is, then no problem. But if it isn't, it'd be good to have someone else there just in case.
That's a good idea. I trust three of y'all can watch over
Of course.
Dunk. Yeah, well, I say three, four of y'all with Duncan here, of course.
Hey, I'm still right here.
I love Duncan. I hope you know
Duncan.
it. just all we know.
I got my eye right on Hank right here. Hank, I'm watching you. And he kind of points a finger at him. Watching you. Hank's like, that's good to know, Duncan. That's good to know. I'm watching you too. Oh, well. Don't watch me too close, Hank, okay?
He's such a dork.
And Luke kind of gives his horse a little kick and rides back in the direction of the figure that you all have seen. He's kind of looking around, trying to see. He's like, Solomon, is it Solomon, right?
That's right, sir. Solomon.
I can't see where he got himself to. Do you see him over there?
I will try a spot hidden. Let's see if I can.
Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Yeah, it seems that the figure has... You get up over the little rise and you look around, and the figure... If it is Mark, whoever it is, you don't see him down in the little gully behind the hill. And Luke's like, son of a bitch. You know, my boy, he's out here quite a bit. He probably knows tons of hiding places. Mark, goddammit, come out here right now! Mark, swear to God, boy. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, so close.
Mark!
It's like, please give me one success, please.
I'll try yelling for him. Mark, if you're out here already, you might as well just accompany us into town. None of this hide and seek bullshit. Come on in now, boy. I'm gonna try persuade.
All right.
Come on.
Jesus.
Now,
Everything's above. I think it's a 70, 65. Just come on.
now, you could spend luck to make that success.
I probably could. How much luck do I have left? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, all right. I'll make my luck an even number anyway.
All right, so you start to turn around thinking it didn't work, and then you hear from kind of the other side of the road. You don't even know how he got over there. You hear like the hooves of his horse, and he kind of comes up out of a ditch on the other side. And he looks real sullen as he's looking at you. And he's like, all right, everybody can stop yelling for me. I'm right here.
Christ, boy, you deaf? Everybody's been yelling for you. Where you been at?
I mean, I was over there, and then when y'all looked away for a second, I came over on this side because I figured maybe you wouldn't think I was still here.
Lo and behold. Now, can you stop with this shadowy crap and let's just come on? You might as well just come into town now. Just please don't point any more guns at myself or my friends.
He kind of perks up a little bit, and you see his rifle in the saddle holster, and his father looks at him. He's like, "You were supposed to stay with your mother." He's like, "Well, she turned around and she went to put the shotgun away, and I ran out the back, and I got Culpepper here and jumped on and headed after y'all." He's like, "Mark, we're having a big talk when we get home later. Get up there." And he rides ahead toward the group, so you all see Mark riding up with Luke following behind him, very sullen-faced. Hank actually has a grin on his face. He seems very impressed by Mark's gumption to come along. And when he gets close enough, Hank looks over and goes, "Mark?" And he's like, "Hey, Uncle Hank!" He looks at the rest of you. "Hello."
Also, I realized Mark is probably taller than Kiyo.
He's probably about, like, how tall is Kiyo?
4 foot something?
Yeah, he's just over 5. Like, he's probably 5'3", 5'4" at this point.
Kiyo's 4'8". So Kiyo's teeny.
He's taller than you.
That's not a surprise.
He's like, I needed to make sure for myself that this was all on the up and up, as it said.
You're more than welcome to join us then. Let's get moving.
All right. And he rides up alongside Hank, and he's like, Uncle Hank, I ain't gonna let him do anything that's gonna be, I'm gonna see everything they do, and then they can't get away with nothing. So, I don't trust him, Uncle Hank. And Hank's like, good boy, and looks like, Hank, don't put ideas in my boy's head. So, you ride. Do you all discuss anything? Hank and Mark are kind of side by side, kind of talking back and forth. You can hear them though; they're not whispering. They're just kind of chatting back and forth a little bit. Luke kind of stays a little behind them, looking at Mark and shaking his head every once in a while, muttering about damn kids. And Duncan kind of rides sort of between him and the rest of you. Once again, talking incessantly. Yeah. Do you all have any conversations on the way back, or just kind of a quiet ride back into town?
Kiyo would every so often check on Olive, see if she is okay.
Olive's doodling in her book, and tells you that she's feeling a bit better.
That's good.
Mhm.
Maybe a meal will help out.
Is still looking out for what we saw on the way in, because she's still curious about that and she keeps an eye out for that.
Oh yeah, make me another spot hidden roll, just kind of looking out, seeing if you notice anything.
Oh, for once.
Hey!
Nice. You do notice as you all are riding back, you see sort of off to your right along the road something that looks similar to the tracks that you saw on the way into town the other day. Those sort of dragging tracks. They kind of look like they followed the road for a little ways, and then they kind of look like they veer away and kind of off into the east a little bit.
Can I point these out to Luke and ask him if he has seen something similar before?
He kind of slows down, comes up alongside you, and takes a look from up in the saddle. Oh, what is that? It looks like something sort of bipedal. Looks like, but dragon. Like, it looks like maybe somebody got hurt or something and maybe dragging a leg behind them. Did you notice that? Like how it looks, it's not like steady steps, but that looks like a boot print there, doesn't it? And he kind of points out a boot print as you're going along, just before they kind of are veering away and out of sight.
Oh, we saw similar prints when we were coming into Stillwater. I was just wondering if there was someone around here living, maybe an hermit, maybe somebody who's, just an outsider who might have, a hurt leg or, a broken hip that we know, because I'm still worried that there's somebody out there that's hurt.
Well, I mean, it could be a prospector got injured or something and has wandered around, or I don't know. I mean, somebody could have gotten hurt, gotten injured. The Apache kind of live up in the hills. If somebody got on the wrong side of them and got hurt and managed to make their way down this far, they could be, confused and just wandering. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, thank you so much for taking a look at it. Now, let's get back to our travels so we can get to town as soon as we can.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
But she does not stop looking. She will still keep an eye out because she's a curious person.
It's fair. And they do seem rather odd to you just to be out here sort of at random. You didn't really notice where they kind of first started. You sort of saw them all of a sudden, like you picked up like, oh wait, what is that? That's kind of strange. So you don't know if it kind of came across maybe the roadway, but the tracks had been muddled at some point, or if it came from one of the low gullies along the road.
Can I kind of try and remember in which direction they're heading? Just file it away for future use.
Sure. And as you're kind of filing away, Duncan sort of paying attention, he kind of gets kind of alongside you and he goes, you don't think maybe that might be one of them that gone missing lately, do you? Maybe they're out here roaming around, lost, and ain't nobody been able to find them?
I am not sure, Duncan, but since we are going to see the law, we might as well mention it and see if they can put together a search party.
All right. I mean, if I didn't see it too clear myself, but if Luke thinks it's a boot print, that must be maybe it's Virgil. Virgil's I mean, I know him a little from town. He's got a claim, kind of not far from where mine is, but he disappeared a while back, and ain't nobody seen him.
All right. Well, let's definitely mention that when we get back into town, so that if there is somebody roaming around at his heart, that we can find them and take care of them.
Oh, all right then. Sounds like a plan. And without much incident, beyond Mark shadowing you and things of that nature, you do manage to make it back into Stillwater in a decent amount of time, a couple hours later. It's getting on into the afternoon now. Town, of course, is up and bustling at this point. People are out and about doing their work as you come into town. So, what would you all like to do?
Well, I think the best thing is to bring him to the law first, before doing anything else, just so we're not wasting their time either.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So you ride down the main street, past the livery, past the blacksmith shop where you can hear the hammer on the anvil going. You ride sort of past Roop, the undertaker, who is sitting in his rocking chair on his porch. As he sees you all come into view, he just does a hand in the air, wave with a really creepy smile as you're each passing by. Afternoon, everybody. He points at a new casket on the porch leaning up against the wall. Finished that one this morning. One of my finest.
Callie's face says it all.
You continue up the road. You pass the Sweetwater Saloon, and you pass by the general store, and then you come to the marshal's office off on the left-hand side of the road. The door is open to sort of let in some wind and kind of air the place out. The wind chimes on the porch are kind of jingling in the breeze. As you come to a stop, there are posts out front where you can tie your horses if you would like to.
Yeah. I also realized Kiyo is probably in control of 3 horses at the moment. Olive's and Viola's. And her own.
So Kiyo's in the center, and there's a rope tied around from either side, and the 2 horses just kind of come up alongside.
Yeah, the doctor is definitely happy to be back on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Kiyo will help Olive down off the horse, too.
Thank you.
No problem.
As you are all dismounting and tying off your horses, you hear heavy footsteps from inside the office, and then the pot-bellied, bushy-mustached fellow that you met, Ted Whitman, the marshal of Stillwater, comes kind of just thump, thump out onto the porch. He's got he's not wearing his overcoat. He's just got his, suspenders on over his shirt. He kind of looks at you all, tips his hat, and says, "Well, isn't this an interesting modge podge of people? I see you've located one Hank Hanratty there, haven't you?"
Indeed, we have. It has been no short of an interesting day, and I do want to keep the gun not necessarily trained, but at least pointed in the direction of Mark and Hank and Luke. More so Mark and Hank. If Mark goes reaching for the gun, I plan to yell at him at least.
Yeah. Kiyo just takes her parasol, puts it over her shoulder, leaves her gun in the holster.
Mark does not go, he doesn't reach for the rifle, but he does look now more concerned seeing the sheriff and looking back and forth between his uncle and his dad and the sheriff and the rest of you. The little, the hard face of, trying to be, serious and angry, kind of a little bit, you can see through that facade where he's also very worried at the moment of what's about to happen to his uncle. And Hank says, so what exactly happens now? I came to town with you. You have some sort of evidence against me, I assume?
We're leaving. This is... Kiyo will just say, that's up to the sheriff, not us. And she'll look to the sheriff, kind of, curious, but I'll let you talk now.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
No, go for it, because that's all I was going to do.
Yeah, just Hank, we were deputized to bring you to the marshal. We have essentially done our job. You are now in the hands of the law, and I wish you the best of luck.
Well, hang on now. Then this is the marshal. You were supposed to bring him to me so I can sign off that you found him, but if you want to get paid your $600 that you were offered, you got to take him back to the city. That's kind of on y'all to escort him. I'm just what one would call a middleman in this endeavor. He's wanted for crimes, outside of my jurisdiction. I just happened to note that he was possibly here. So if you bring him back, since you've been deputized to have him arrested, you gotta get him back to the city, which I can sign off and that he is the man that you were looking for, and then you could take him out tomorrow and head back with him and get paid, and then it's on them in the city to do the whole worrying about the trial and things like that and finding out the guilt and stuff. And Hank's like, well, I didn't agree to go back to no big city. I said I'd come here and we'd talk it out with the marshal here.
Well, sir, she's addressing the marshal. Sir, would you be able to tell Hank and us what exactly these charges are, so that maybe he can already think and prepare about this, and maybe it is something that we can easily clean up in the city?
Yeah, just a sec. And he turns around and he walks back into the office, and you hear him go to his desk and start opening and closing the drawers on the desk. You hear from inside the young fellow who's been in jail because he sort of lost his mind at some point. He starts talking nonsense, not making any sense, and the marshal's like, "Be quiet over there. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't understand you, son. Just sit down and calm down." And after about maybe 2 or 3 minutes, the marshal comes sauntering back out, and he's got what appears to be the wanted poster in his hand. And he says, here we go. So, it looks like Hank here, and he holds it up so you can see the drawing. And it's a pretty good drawing. It looks, he could be the guy in the picture for sure. You see that it says that he is wanted for the murder of let's see. He's wanted for the murder of a local lawman back in the city. So he apparently gunned down a lawman in cold blood. And so he is wanted for that murder, along with it lists some other small crimes like some robberies type stuff and things of that nature, like a hold up, a train robbery, and a couple other things underneath it. And he says, "Yep, right here." So he's a robber and he's a murderer, and see, wanted dead or alive. And all you got to do is get him back, and you'll get your money for bringing him in.
Sir, do these charges have any dates on them?
Well, looks like the killing of the lawman here. Looks like this was with last year, a year and a half ago, that he did that, and he disappeared after that one, didn't you, Hank? You came up here not too long after that, and Hank just doesn't say anything. He just sort of kind of looks down the road, not making eye contact.
All right, then. Well, Hank, it looks like that our travels aren't yet through. And at this point, I am going to have to ask you to relieve yourself of your rifle and your handgun, should you have one or the other.
See, I don't... you're going a lot on, like, hearsay. Like, that doesn't look nothing like me in that picture, you see? I mean, that fellow's hair is much shorter, and... I mean, that fellow in the picture, he's got some facial hair, and, I mean, you can see I'm
Kiyo will just say, you can shave and keep your hair longer, Hank. We both know you can do that. Okay.
Hank, you're absolutely right. I am going on hearsay because the only thing I'm hearing is that you may or may not have committed some crimes, but I'm not hearing anything from you saying the opposite.
I told you that I am an innocent man, that I made mistakes as a young man, but I came out here to join my family and help them.
Making a mistake. What you all of a sudden became an old man in the span of a year? That's not how time works, Hank. These crimes were committed a year ago.
But I mean, this here looks like, I mean, I don't recall ever being in that. What's that name of that town? Messia? I don't recall ever even, I mean, passing through. That's what? Where is that located anyway?
Well, Kiyo will say, you're about to find out.
But I mean, I can't have committed a crime in a place I've never even been to.
Sometimes our memories fail us. It all happens, Hank.
And sometimes, people can be mistaken. I mean, getting paid for a job, it's you want to turn me in because that's how you're going to make money, but...
Of course.
But what if I'm telling the truth and I'm innocent?
Then you can have my share of the stuff, of the pay.
But what if I end up strung up and hung from the end of a rope and it was never me, and you could all just, like, leave this alone, and I mean, it's probably somebody else. I mean, Sheriff, you're getting older, your eyes aren't as good. I mean, you called these poor people out here for this really sad likeness of me. I mean, really? Does
Hank,
anybody
you're
want to
treating
make a
us like...
psychology check?
Yeah, sure. Or if anybody's better than me, because that's...
What was that? Sorry, Jeanette?
I said if anybody's better than me at psychology, because...
I don't think Kiyo is, but... Kiyo is not good at psychology.
Olive is okay.
Is she better than the base stat? Then go roll, please, because I have a 10 in it.
Yeah, I got a 14, and my psychology is 50.
Hey!
All right.
Go.
I was so not paying attention because my psychology is nice, but she passed.
It's all that matters.
All right. So, Olive, your keen ear for news and for picking out truth in a story, your ears are tingling a bit on this. Like you definitely aren't aren't believing a lot of what Hank's putting down. You think that he's definitely trying to get himself out of a situation that he has put himself in.
Well, Hank, did you do it?
I just got through saying that I am innocent, Miss... What was it, Olive?
Well, I'm not good with this.
Oh.
Okay.
I tend to write stories for articles in newspapers proving that people are innocent or not innocent. So if you are so inclined, maybe you could tell us your side of the story.
I mean, I'm trying to do that, Miss Olive, as I've been saying all along. I mean, that poster says that this woman was killed in a place called Messia or something, and I've never been anywhere near a place like that. I'm not saying that I haven't done bad things. I mean, you know, I was a soldier a long time ago, and I've taken lives, ma'am, but I wouldn't just kill someone in cold blood. I mean, I've got a family to think about. I've got my sister and the boy to think about, and my brother-in-law here. That's just not who I am. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't taken things that don't belong to me and other things like that, but I'm just saying, I feel like I'm gonna get railroaded into getting my neck stretched for this, and somebody else did this, not me. And I think that, unfortunately, I'm not an intelligent man, and I don't have the funds to go and get myself some kind of a representation. So I'm just gonna become another one, just another notch on somebody's chalkboard that they got their man. You don't want to be party to that, do you, Miss Olive?
First of all, it's Miss Archer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Kiyo.
Miss Archer.
Second, I gotta say, I do not believe you. So, I am pretty good at picking out the bullshit. And if you are intending to put one past me, then I have several friends with guns, and I have one myself, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Duncan says from like behind the group, "You gotta be careful. They're dangerous, let me tell you. That one over there is the one that clocked me in the face." And you think, "Oh man, no, not that one." But I ain't even seen what this one can do. So you best maybe just
You
settle
see
up.
this scar?
Oh
I
my
want to know how I
goodness.
got these scars.
Hank, you should just you're just gonna bring a lot of heartache to the boy here. And he's like patting Mark on the shoulder, like, "It's okay, son." And Hank just sort of looks around. And at this point, you notice that the marshal, he hasn't drawn it, but he's got his hand kind of at his hip where his gun is on his gun belt.
Yeah.
And he says, "Whatever the case here, Hank, these fine folks they gotta take you in, and until they're ready to take you out of town, I think that you're gonna have to be a special guest of my establishment while they figure out what they're doing as far as getting you back to Messia. So, I think that you need to dismount that horse, hand your gun over to Mr. Henson over here, and don't piss off Miss Archer, because obviously she's armed too." He just kind of stares up at Hank intently. You see Hank kind of looking at everybody, sort of kind of sizing up the odds, and he slowly just dismounts the horse. Luke kind of comes up alongside Mark and like puts an arm around his shoulder to, you know, like stop him from reacting. He's like, "It's all right, son. They just got to take him in for the night. We'll be able to talk to him once he's inside, and you can hang out with him for a little bit and talk to him while he's in there." And he gets down. He puts his hands down and kind of starts undoing his gun belt. He kind of gets it in his hands. He just kind of stares you down, Sol, for a beat or two, holding the gun belt. And then he kind of slowly just hands it over to you. "I'll be expecting that back. Don't go running off with it."
I promise, sir, it'll be back as soon as I can give it back.
And he just steps up toward the sheriff or the marshal, and Marshall still has his hand at his hip and sort of steps aside to let him sort of move into the office area, but quickly kind of follows him, keeping himself between Hank and the gun rack on the other side of the room, and kind of like filtering him and funneling him toward the second of the two cells that has nobody in it. And he just walks over, holds the door open, and Hank kind of steps inside and lets him close the door and lock the door behind him. And from outside, Mark's like, "Uncle Hank, Dad, Uncle Hank, we can't just let it." And he's like, "It's all right, son. It's all right. He's gonna be all right. This is just he says it's a misunderstanding." But you see him like he's like looking at the wanted poster as the sheriff kind of walked away with it in his other hand. With a concerned kind of look on his face. Yeah.
Kiyo's gonna walk over to him though, and just kind of say, "I'm really sorry about this," and she'll actually reach into her thing and offer up some money to them for that $5 back. So I know it's not much for what we are doing, but it's something.
Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully this is a mistake, because that's it's definitely a loss to have Hank. And I'm just gonna tell you, and if it holds any weight for him, I mean, he's been a good man since. I mean, I didn't know him when I married June. He was off fighting in a war and off doing whatever he was doing back east. But since he's been here, I mean, sometimes he gets in fights at the bars and things like that, but he's been a big help. He's been a good brother to his sister, and he's been good to my boy. And that should count for something. I mean, if he did kill this fellow, I mean, I'm a law-abiding man myself, and I don't agree with that, but he's still family.
I understand, and I certainly hope that he's found innocent. Nothing worse than seeing a person who doesn't deserve it.
I agree. I'm going to take the boy in to talk to him for a little bit, and then we might get a room for the night and stay, just to see what's going on.
Of course. And she'll kind of step over and go back to Olive.
Yeah, Luke, we do appreciate you helping us bring him, whatever you want to call it, into justice, at least into town. It's been incredibly helpful, and we know it can't be the easiest thing.
Well, let's just say I'm glad things didn't take a turn for the worse back at my home. I have to say I appreciate you not shooting my boy when he pointed his weapon at you.
The feeling is mutual.
Well, that's my son, and I think it could have gone a lot different if someone had fired on my wife and my boy, but Hank's a grown man, and he can take care of himself. I hope.
Well, good luck with your boy and his temper. He's still got some growing to do, but he'll be a fine young man.
He's one for taking risks, Mark is. He, you know, a little bit of a hothead, risk taker, but he's got a good heart where it's got it where it counts. So, hopefully we can temper some of that into something useful.
Certainly.
All right, well, we're going to go in and make sure Hank's settled, and maybe you won't have to take him. Maybe I'm going to talk to the sheriff a little bit, Marshall, and just see what's what, but come on, Mark, let's go. And he ties off his horse and takes Mark by the hand and carefully takes Mark's rifle himself and kind of carries it in with him and kind of hands it to the sheriff, Marshall, and he says, can you mind storing this in with your weapons while we're talking with my brother-in-law? And he says, oh, no, that's fine. No worries, Luke. I'll do that for you. And Marshall kind of thumps across the floor and goes and puts the gun in the gun rack. Walks back over and looks at the rest of you. So, I'll keep him in there as long as y'all need. Whenever you're ready to take him, just come by and let me know. He should be fine.
He'll not say. I look at the rest of him saying, assume tomorrow you can head out. All right. We can always try and get a, she'll kind of like, we can use my cart too. That'll probably be able to hold a few of us.
All right.
It'd probably be the best for Hank anyway, so that way he doesn't have to ride if we have to put him in shackles or anything like that.
Kiyo also will say, I also have some of those covered if we need them.
I definitely recommend, I get a strong sense that he's keeping his temper in check, but it's only by, the fact that I think that the odds were definitely not in his favor here.
Yeah, that's, sorry, my dogs are losing it upstairs, so I apologize for the background noise. I was thinking that as well. He does seem to have a bit of a hair trigger on his temper. But, yeah, do let us know if he's any trouble at all. I plan to stop by somewhat later after Mark and Luke have left. If there's anything I can bring you while I'm doing that, just let me know.
I appreciate that. I think things will be all right. I'll keep him in there. Keep an eye on him. If I've got to leave for any reason, I'll get Peters to come on up from his porch. He could use a good stretching of his legs and have him come and sit and keep an eye on him. And but I think it'll be fine. He can keep my other guest company for a while. Maybe it'll dull him down a little bit to deal with that poor boy.
How is your other guest?
Still not showing any signs of improvement, sadly. He's still muttering and just, I don't know what happened to him out there that night, but he's definitely seems like he's completely lost his mind. I don't know.
Well, all right then. Anybody else have any business, or should we make it back to the saloon, to our rooms?
Well, I know that the doctor would definitely like to head back to her room since she's still a little hurt. Since she lost, a little bit of health falling. And
took a bit of spell.
I'm guessing Olive should rest too. Maybe we should go eat.
Oh, definitely that, yeah.
I'm thinking that might be a good idea. Eat and,
have a nice night.
Relax ourselves after a little adrenaline-fueled day.
All right, then.
A little bit of adrenaline.
So, as you're walking out, Whitman kind of walks you out on the porch and kind of pulls the door a little bit shut behind. And he says, well, I appreciate you bringing him in. And, I can't say for sure, because I didn't see it myself, but now that I'm seeing Hank up close and personal, my deputy, his name was Tim Harlan. he got himself shot in the back and killed one night. And there was all this talk about him insulting one of the other patrons inside the Buena Suerte Cantina. Nobody ever was able to point a finger at who really did it, but I wouldn't doubt that it wasn't Hank that shot him. So he may not be as on the up and up now as he likes to point out and say he is.
Kiyo just kind of chuckle a little and say, I'm not, he seems like the type.
Yeah, I agree. But when you do take him with you, just be careful. I always keep an eye on him, I'd say. All right?
Plan to.
All right, then. And he turns and heads back into the office. He kind of walks into one of the hanging wind chimes. And, God damn, I gotta move that. It's in the way. And it kind of clinks a little and reflects on the sun. And he just sort of walks past it and opens up the door to the office again and walks back inside. And you are left in the main road.
Well, get back, stable the horses, come back. Enjoy a bit of downtime before some travel.
All right. So you head back up the road toward the livery to stable your horses once again. You see Roberto, who you have now learned is likes to go by Bob, is in the back. He's cleaning and brushing one of the horses of the two that he has currently in the stable. And as he sees you coming, he says, "Ah, my friends, welcome back."
Hi there, Bob. How's your day going?
Oh, it's not too bad. Nice weather though. Smells like rain, if you ask me.
Y'all get a lot of rain out here?
We get quite a bit, actually. There's enough to, have some decent farming land up here and about outside of town, so not too bad.
Anything of note happened in town while we were gone?
No, nothing that I've noticed. There was another one of those earth tremors that came through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we felt it.
Oh, yes, startled the horses a bit. My boys, one of the horses did get out, and my boys and I had to catch it before it got too far. But otherwise, no, nothing odd, no. Things have been mostly quiet. I saw you go by with, the Probrish group there. What's anything going on there?
Just a little bit of work. Hopefully it's nothing.
Ah, good. While y'all are getting your horses kind of checked in, everybody just roll me a spot hidden check, please.
I failed.
I passed.
All right. So as Bob is talking, both the doctor and Kiyo, you notice sort of down the side street that runs alongside the livery. There's a kind of a couple houses along the street, and then there's a small house kind of at the end of the road. You see a figure dressed in kind of ratty leathers and furs with a Civil War cap on his head, kind of his back to you, kind of standing straight, looking, it looks like he's staring directly into the afternoon sun. About maybe, we'll say, couple 100 yards down the street, almost to where this house is, just looking off in the distance, just staring directly at the sun. You recognize the fellow as the little man, Hiram, that Olive tried to have a chat with inside the Sweetwater, and every time she asked him a question, he sort of asked her a question in return.
Yeah, the one who was speaking parcel tongue in the middle of the night. That one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that guy.
No.
Oh, weird guy.
The one
I mean,
that
I'm not
seems to
surprised that
have
he's
a
staring
snoring
at us.
problem.
He seems the type to be staring at the sun, so. But yeah, Kiyo will just be. He is one strange person. That is one strange person. Kind of shakes her head a little.
He's gonna hurt his eyes. That is not gonna be good when he gets older.
The other two of you can hear them sort of make comments and then kind of take notice of him down the street, just standing. And he's just standing still, perfectly still, just standing and staring up into the sun. He's not really got his back to you. He's kind of like at a maybe like 45-degree angle to you, kind of facing a little bit away.
So I kind of do want to walk over there and just kind of call out to him like gently. I don't want to startle him because, you know, as a doctor, I'm really worried about him, you know, hurting his eyes. And why is he staring? What is going on with him? Did he have a stroke?
So what do you say as you approach him?
Do we know his name? I don't remember his name.
Hiram.
Hiram. Sir, excuse me, Mr. Hiram? How are you today, sir?
How are you today? And he's still looking straight up at the sun when he says that.
Mr. Hiram, what is it you're looking at, sir?
Nothing like a little warm sunlight.
Mr. Hiram, are you aware that looking straight in the sun can damage your eyes? Mr. Hiram, sir?
You don't think that it's very nice sunlight, though?
It is beautiful sunlight. However, it will damage your eyes if you keep looking at it and you won't be able to see anymore. That would be very sad.
He kind of blinks his eyes and he sort of turns and looks at you and he's like, why would that be so sad?
Well, sir, you wouldn't be able to see what you eat or what you drink, and you would not be able to appreciate the beautiful sun anymore if you can't see it.
Thank you. And he starts to just
Anytime.
sort of walk away.
Anytime, Mr. Hiram. That's what doctors are for.
You're a doctor.
Well, yes, sir, I am. That's why I was a little worried about your eyes.
Where did you learn to become a doctor?
Well, I actually learned from my father. He was a doctor too.
Is your father here?
No, sir. My father's not with us any longer. I am so sorry to say.
Where is he now?
Back in my hometown, 6 feet under.
I see.
I'm sorry that I
Well.
did not bring him.
I was waiting for him to say why. So
Can I roll up psychology check on him?
Sure.
All right, because what's his damage?
a lot.
In 1800s terms.
In 1800s terms. So,
He's got the vapors, guys.
your thought is he doesn't first off he seems very inquisitive, but he doesn't seem like he's altogether there, obviously. He definitely seems a little like maybe spacey, like maybe he's not entirely sure of his surroundings. You don't think, but you definitely get kind of like just a little bit creepy read on him, like he's just not okay.
So, Mr. Hiram, is there anything else I can help you with since I am a doctor? I mean, sleeping problems seem to be very common in this area.
Are you having sleeping problems?
No, sir. However, I have heard that some other people have, especially due to these quakes that have been happening.
What is the quakes that are happening?
When the ground shakes, sir.
Oh, I see.
Do you have trouble sleeping?
Are you concerned that I have trouble sleeping?
Sir, I am just want to make sure that you are all right. That is my job, after all.
I am concerned that you are not all right. Why are you here?
Well, sir, we are here on business, and then we're going to be moving along.
What kind of business do you do?
Well, I'm a doctor, remember? Yeah, I am here to make sure that people are all right. That is my job.
Isn't there a doctor here already that isn't you?
Absolutely, but we do like to talk to each other and help each other out. You know the the young feller in that is with the marshal? I was trying to help him. I forgot his name.
How are you going to help him?
Well, I was going to try and talk to him and see if I can help him. However, right now, Mr. Hiram, I'm trying to help you.
Is
Viola?
the boy talking?
Viola, you all right over there?
Hello? How are you?
Viola, you seem to have found yourself in a circle of hell. Can I maybe assist you in getting out of it?
Well, you can definitely try. However, I am very experienced at this and I can do this all day. However, Mr. Hiram, so how are you sleeping at night?
In a bed. How do you sleep?
I have to say, that is a very me response.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think sleeping in a bed is a very good idea, sir. Do you sleep all through the night or do you wake up in the middle?
Should I be waking up in the middle?
Not really, sir. Do you wake up in the middle of the night?
Do you wake up in the middle of the night?
No, sir, I do not.
Please put us out of our misery. Please.
Callie's just like, thank God this isn't me right now.
But on a side note, seriously, I work with 2-year-olds all day. 14 of them. I can do this all day, Jeanette.
I know.
Some sort of reverse sphinx. No riddles, just the same question you ask it.
Yes, you repeat yourself a lot.
Oh, is that bad?
It's not really bad, but it might be something I can help you with if you tell me what's going on.
I think I'm thirsty. I'm gonna go get a beverage.
Very well, sir. You might want to get some water since you looked in the sun and you were outside. You might be dehydrated.
He turns and looks again, long, kind of stare into the sun, non-blinking. It's a nice sun, isn't it?
Yep, and if you want to keep being able to appreciate it, stop looking at it directly, please.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Hiram.
He starts walking away again.
So weird.
All right, so that was a whole bunch of nothing.
Well, we got that he's really weird, which we already knew.
Very,
And
very
that he's
weird.
Weirder.
Yes, he's very weird. Not really there at all. He is a little creepy after all. Even for me, who works with old people who can't remember nothing.
So you see him wander off, and he kind of strolls down the side street where he is. It kind of goes behind the blacksmith and around the corner, down past the sheriff's office, and he seems like he's heading sort of down toward the Buena Suerte Cantina. And you just watch him walking, and like before he kind of disappears out of sight, you see a couple of the dogs that had been kind of tied off before you left town earlier in the day. You hear them at first, you hear them bark, and you see him kind of look sideways and go, "Ugh." And then he kind of double times it as the dogs come running around the corner. And you see him just with his hand on his cap running down the street, and the dogs kind of barking and chasing after him. And then he kind of disappears out of sight down the road, running away from the dogs.
Well, I guess the dogs don't like him either.
Definitely either.
All right, I am hungry and thirsty. Let's go eat.
All right,
please.
let's get back.
So you all check your horses in at the livery and make your way back to the Sweetwater Saloon. When you cross the threshold into the now familiar saloon, Samuel looks up from behind the bar and, "Oh, you're back! Ha ha! Look at you!" And Duncan is still kind of trailing behind, like, "Hey, Samuel! I get a room again tonight! Ha!" And Samuel looks over at you, Solomon, and just, "So, how are y'all, my friends? Welcome back. Did you have a successful day?"
Of course.
Yeah, successful. Little stressful, but all in all, it was a good trip.
Ah,
Aside
that's
from
good.
my attempt to talk to Mr. Hiram and try to keep him from burning out his eyeballs, looking at the sun, it was a very successful day.
What? Hiram just standing around staring at that sun again? Jesus, that boy. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's got a bunch of marbles loose knocking around inside his skull or something. Seems harmless, though. Just, likes to stroll in here when he finds a little bit of money for some pocket change and drinks his way through it and then disappears back into the mountains until he's got a little bit more to spend.
Does he have a specific claim, sir?
Oh, yeah, Hiram's got a claim. It's, well, Duncan, you could tell him. And Duncan, yeah, he's up, he's not near me. He's a good deal distance away from me, but, yeah, he's up there. I see him coming down back out of the hills when he's, heading back into town. And, I don't know, he kind of keeps himself to himself out there. Stops. What's that?
Is that in any way the directions of where the footprints were heading?
No, because the footprints you saw are on, basically, Duncan's claim is kind of to the northeast of town, and the footprints were kind of to the south, on the southwest side of town, back toward the Probish place, so it's kind of in the wrong direction for those.
I am kind of worried Mr. Hiram at some point was dropped on his head, but so far he's going to be all right.
Duncan laughs. He may have fell down a mountain or two, I mean, he's not all that coordinated from what I saw. And that's coming from a fellow who's very coordinated.
Very much so, Mr. Duncan. Very much so.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. So, how about a round for all of us? I think we're all parched and we need something to eat, right?
Well, before that, you guys can go ahead. She'll look to the owner. Would you happen to have a bath that I could use?
Of course. He looks over and he says, "Oh, where are they? Hang on a second. Jason, go find the girls wherever they ended up. Go get them. They're gonna draw up a bath here for Miss Kiyo." And then you hear from the other, down the hall in the back, you hear one of the voices, "We're right back here, Sam. Just a second." And Molly kind of walks out and she's like, hey, come on back. We'll get a bath drawn up for you and get some
All
hot
right.
water. And they kind of lead you out back.
Yeah,
A
first Kiyo
bath
goes and-
sounds delightful.
Kiyo goes and collects a change of clothes. She wants out of her riding clothes and into her nicer clothes. Someone's fancy, yes, I know.
So, Duncan finds himself a seat, grabs his glass as soon as Samuel pours it, and nothing like a good day's work, eh, Mr. Solomon?
That's right, Duncan.
So y'all leaving tomorrow?
I think that the sooner we can get this whole thing sorted out for Hank, the better for everybody. I don't want him just sitting in a cell and wondering what comes next. And honestly, the sooner that we can get paid and get done with this nasty business, the better, I think.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. I just, I feel like, I've enjoyed all y'all's company. I'm gonna be sad to see you go.
We'll be sad to see you go as well, Duncan.
Really? Oh, well, usually I rub people the wrong way, and they usually take off lickety-split as soon as they get a chance. It's nice to know that not everybody feels that way.
Well, you just keep your nose clean and, keep doing some good work. And, maybe if you want to, you seem to have a decent head on your shoulders and a not entirely misconstrued moral compass. You could find yourself deputized and continue to do work like this.
Me a deputy. A deputy. Wouldn't that be just something? I could have a badge. They're short one deputy in the town. Ever since, the other one took a bullet in the back. I don't know if I want to take a bullet in the back.
It does seem to be a risk of the job, doesn't it?
Apparently. Yeah,
And
I'll have to think about that.
And we don't want to take you away from your claim or take you away from your home. It's bad enough we're doing it to Hank. So it's probably just best if stay here.
Now, what if y'all took Hank back and then y'all came back? I bet you that you could find, some kind of work or a claim of your own or something here, and then you could stay.
It's certainly a possibility for some of us, maybe not all of us. I couldn't speak for the other three, but I know that I'm in search of potentially a new place to settle down. Stillwater doesn't seem to be that terrible, although it does have its strangeness to it. No short of mysteries.
Strangeness? What's strange about this place just kind of dull. The whole Hank situation's the most entertaining thing I've seen long time.
You have new earthquakes, missing people, a man who's been driven insane inside of a jail cell, that weird undertaker, a man who stares into the sun.
We forgot to tell the sheriff about the prince and ask him to send a search party for Virgil. Was that his name?
Yeah, I'm
We
heading back
completely
that way.
forgot, Mr. Duncan.
We got to go back there anyway.
Oh, yeah, well, you're going back to pick up Hank anyway, so... But yeah, when
Somebody
you
make
list
sure I
everything,
do not forget again.
I will make sure that you do not forget, Miss
Thank
Viola.
you so much.
I can't guarantee that I won't forget. Yeah, so, well, when you list everything out like that, I guess it does sound like there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. But,
It's just not that big of a town for all the strangeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose. But, stick around long enough and maybe you'll get to see some of Lee's fireworks too, though.
Speaking of, well, he does he just do these shows randomly?
I mean, he never did before. It used to be just, 4th of July. Woohoo! We got fireworks shooting off from San Francisco. But now, we got fireworks going off every couple weeks or every couple days, depending on when he feels. He says he ain't doing it, but I mean, come on. I don't believe that. He's got to be shooting them off. He's the only one I know that does fireworks. I mean, if I could get to San Francisco, I'd get me some fireworks, but I don't have that kind of transportation, you know what I mean?
I do. I mean, is the fireworks, you can see them, you're not just hearing them, right? I mean, this is a show he puts on for the town or for his business?
Well, he sneaks out away from town, so you can't catch him doing it at random. So it's you see him going off, and it's oh look, they're over there, out in the distance. And by the time you get out there, he's kind of cleaned up and gotten out of there, or he'll stay in town so that you don't think it's him, but it's probably some of the guys that work for him, and they're out there doing it. I don't know. They're pretty nice, though. If you don't have to rush away, you wait a couple days, you might get a chance to see him.
Is there any correlation between, it seems to be, when the fireworks are happening and when the earth shakes?
I don't know. I really haven't been paying attention, but now that you mention it, I should probably pay attention.
I think that might be a good idea. Just in case.
See, I think you should stick around. You're smart. And to think about these things. Hey, maybe this and this have something to do with each other. Whereas I'm just oh, pretty fireworks. Oh, the earth's trembling. Nothing to do with one another. I don't know.
Well, thank you for the compliment, sir.
He tips his hat. You're welcome. You notice a little patch on it flips a little bit as he puts it back on his head. I don't know. But, I'm just gonna miss y'all when you leave.
Oh.
Alright, well, and I'm gonna have something to eat, and then I think I'm gonna go up, and I'm gonna get some sleep. Hopefully that door don't stick again. That was, I kinda had to pee in the middle of the night, and I just kinda had to hold it, because I didn't have, there wasn't even, a little, jar in my room there for me to go in, so I just kinda held it, and...
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Duncan. I talked to Samuel. I don't think that the door is going to stick again tonight. I think he got that fixed.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get some bread and some cheese, and I think I'm gonna call it early night. Because I kind of want to get to bed before that Hiram dude goes to sleep, because he snores something awful.
Yeah, but actually, by the way, did you hear? You did hear him previous night.
Noisy. He was noisy as, oh my god, just on and on for ever. And then I don't know if he's a scorpion crawled up his nostrils or something, but damn, I don't understand that noise. It's what is that?
It was pretty unbearable.
It was terrible.
I'm glad you heard it too. Just yeah, maybe just don't go too near him. He seems to have some issues that might need addressed, preferably not by you.
Yeah, I think he might have fallen down a mountain.
It's a good theory.
Yeah. We should probably, if you can get a close-up look under his hat, I bet you'd find dents where he hit his head. I'm just saying.
All right, then.
All right. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave y'all to it. Bye. And he picks up and he goes over and he gets Jason to give him cheese and bread. And he finishes drinking his drink and puts it on the bar and kind of scuttles up the stairs. You see him. He gets upstairs. He gets to the door. He kind of opens it, shuts it, opens it, shuts it, opens it, shuts it from outside. And then goes in and shuts it and then opens it and then shuts it, and then he's inside.
Oh boy.
So Kiyo takes a bath. I assume that the doctor will partake in a bath afterward as well.
Sounds like
Olive.
a plan. We're all dusty and yucky.
Yeah, being on the road does that. Do you also kind of take a bath, relax?
Sure.
All right. Do you all plan on doing anything else for the rest of this evening, or just kind of laying low and taking it easy until the morning and then settling up your business?
I did want to stop by the general store and then the jail, but since we're kind of running towards the end, we can save that for next time.
All right, so in the evening, you want to do that before you settle down for the night?
Correct.
Okay.
After a few drinks, Olive says, maybe we should take Duncan with us. He's really nice.
I did not want to make that decision for the group. You do want to hire on Duncan. It's splitting the bounty even further, but I'm sure he could settle for something.
We at least would be splitting some of that with him anyways. He did help us quite a bit.
That's fair.
He's gonna miss us. He's gonna miss us. He's gonna be so lonely. What if we miss him?
Miss Olive, I think it's time for you to go to bed. You should
Just
hit
kind
your
of
head today.
Olive on the shoulder.
Maybe you should not have been drinking with your head injury, Miss Olive.
The disappointed doctor voice.
Listen, if Duncan is still here in the morning, we can offer him a place amongst our party. That's something you'd be interested in doing, Miss Archer.
Tell you in the morning.
Kiyo's getting quite a bit of enjoyment of drunk Olive.
Yeah, Miss Archer, why don't you sleep on it or sleep it off, whichever one you prefer. But yeah, we'll see you in the morning.
All right. So on that note, we will close out tonight with Olive getting escorted to bed, and Solomon's gonna run a couple errands at the start of next session. But you have brought Hank back, and now you have to take him back to the city and get him turned in to collect your payment for the bounty on his head.
I can't wait to see how Jeanette messes with this and puts a wrench in all her plan.
What?
A wrench named Duncan.
Duncan's gonna. I'm just waiting for Duncan to be the villain for us for this part.
We should ask the marshal to lock up Mark for at least 8 hours after we leave.
Mark's a good kid.
Mark's a good kid. I like Mark.
Mark's
why
a
do you
good
think Kiyo didn't point the gun at Mark? He's just a kid.
Well, all right. So with that, we'll go around if anybody has any plugs or anything like that, and then we will head out for the evening. And so we'll start with D-Sword. What's up?
What's up, everyone? Hi, everybody. I am Derek Sword. Yes, that is my real last name. Yes, it's awesome. No, you can't have it. You can find me on Twitter and Discord as DSword16. You can find me in a bunch of other places. I'm streaming, and I've got a bunch of projects going on right now. So every other Tuesday, I'm here. Every Saturday morning, as of right now, I am guesting on Half Rate Heroes, which is on Open for Adventures Twitch channel. I'm going to be guesting for my 4th session, so at this point, let's keep it rolling, and I'll just be around forever. On Saturday evenings, I am on Stalwart's channel. That's STAULWART, where I play with another Uncanny Adventure person, Paladin Hulk, in the Guild DM's Guild Spotlight, where we play DM's Guild pre-written campaigns. And you can also find me on an upcoming episode of the podcast Monster Crush with the very lovely Heavenly, where we discuss monsters that we want to smooch and snuggle with. That actually, I have it on good authority. The episode will come out tomorrow, wherever podcasts are found. And the episode that I do is about dating locations. But it turns out I will be on some other upcoming episodes as well. So download the one that comes out tomorrow, and then give a review. It's my first ever podcast, so be nice. Thank you.
Awesome. And Vivacia, what's up?
Well, I'm Vivacia. You can find me here on Twitch under Vivacia. On Twitter, it's Miss Vivacia, as was just linked in chat. Right now, I am every second Tuesday. I am here. I'm playing in another campaign that is Flan and Fiends with the great Canadian guy. However, because we're all over the globe, in the Philippines, in the UK, and one of us is moving, we are kind of hit and miss. Else, you might find me, doing a one shot here and there. And if you want this face in the weird on your channel, you let me know.
Sounds like a plan. All right, Vex, what do you got going on?
Well, on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. EST, Callie and I, you can find Callie and I on my channel at Fractured Moon D&D, where we play a Anthro Retroverse, which is a D&D 5e companion, I will call it. It's a lot of fun. You can also find both of us. I mean, Callie, half of my plugs are going to involve you, because me and you are in so many games together. Goddamn. You find me or Callie this week on Scotty, but me on the alternating weeks on Scotty Hood's channel, where I play another Retroverse game. And soon in February, start on the 22nd, I will be on a Witcher game on Heroes Without Limits, and I'm super hyped about it. That's about it right now.
Outstanding. And Callie, our featured artist of the week. Thank you again for all the character art. What do you got going on?
Well, like Vex said, I'm in a million streams. So, you could find me on Twitter at CapCallie. I do art. I have commissions open. I have school also, so I don't know how quick I would get the commissions done. I say that, and I got commissions
Instantly.
Very quickly.
I am, like Vex said, on this Friday at Scotty Hood's channel, Retroverse vaccine. We'll be dealing with some stuff.
It's gonna be fun. What are you talking about?
It's gonna be fun.
Nobody
I'm sure
died
I'm not
last
gonna
session.
cry. Nobody died, and I'm not gonna cry. And on Sunday morning on Scotty Hood's channel at 10, I'm in Reign of Misrule, which is kind of a Waterdeep / Spelljammer game. We were on the moon. We're not on the moon anymore. We might go back to the moon. And then at 6:30 on Sunday at Power Score RPG, I'm on Dungeon Academy, where I play Airly Maryland. Turned into a pit fiend last session and kicked a dragon's ass, and it was really awesome. But check that out.
Awesome. Very cool. And I'm Jeanette. I run games here on Uncanny Adventures every other Sunday. Skull and Shackles D&D 5e game. Every other Monday, I run another Wild West Cthulhu game that may or may not take place in the same world. I don't know. We'll find out. There may be crossovers. Who knows? And obviously, every other Tuesday, we are here with this fine crew of people who I don't intentionally tend to mess with, but I can't make any promises, I swear. We'll see what happens. Hey, no bloodshed this week. Good job. But yeah, and you can find me elsewhere. I play on usually on Power Score RPG's channel on Saturdays, but currently we're doing that game on Scotty Hood's at 3 p.m. and I play in Ghost of Saltmarsh on Scotty Hood's channel every other Saturday at 7 p.m. So, just a couple things. Otherwise, thank you everybody for playing this week again. Thank you for those who dropped into chat, who check out the videos later on, and hope to see you moving forward in our adventure. We'll see what happens next. I don't know. I mean, Hiram seems like a great guy. Duncan's pretty cool. Hank's in jail. And, Mark might have a temper. Who knows? We'll find out. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Have a good one. Take it easy.